Time now on RPM to head north to the mountains of Mourne, Ulster's border country. The rolling hills and valleys of South Down and Armagh are the peaceful and perfect setting for a rally unique in terms of location and cooperation. The Newry Club's Walsh O'Connell Finance Mourne Rally is a round of the McGarrity Insurance Northern Ireland Championship, and it's also a part of the WJ Dolan Border Championship, the only round of this series to be held in the north. Based at the Carlingford Bay Hotel on the northern side of the loch, it straddles both sides of the border for the first time. Clerk of the course is Des O'Lone.
Well, we're absolutely delighted with the event this year. It certainly has made it truly cross-border, and the stage in the Cooley Mountains is a superb 11.5 mile stage, and we're delighted with the cooperation we've had from the governing bodies and the motor clubs, both sides of the border. It's a bit unfortunate that it's wet this morning, but hopefully that'll dry up throughout the day. It is a unique event now with, I think, the only Circuit of Ireland is the only event that actually crosses the border in this format. But the stages are in superb condition, and I think all the competitors are going to have a fantastic rally.
Warren Point is now an important gateway to Ireland, and one man hoping his boat will come in today is leader of the McGarrity series, Sean Haveron.
We've been very lucky so far. A couple of good results there. Thankfully, a couple of rallies that people won that weren't registered for the championship, and it gives us a bit of a chance here now, yeah.
Now you're leading the championship at the moment, and yet it's not really a full Group A car, is it?
No, it's basically a Group N car. When I bought it, we've modified it slightly. A Group N Clubman car, still down a lot on power compared to some of the other cars out today.
As the competitors gather at rally headquarters, one driver uppermost in Haveron's mind will be Derek McGarrity, winner of the opening 2 rounds.
Derek, you just seem to enjoy this Northern Ireland Championship.
Yeah, well, it's really, you have to do what you can afford, Plum. It's all what I can afford to do, really.
And of course, surprise, surprise, not a surprise with you, yet another car.
Yeah, well, the Metro has now been sold, so I had to get a car sort of short notice, so Gabriel Snow stepped in, so a deal's been done for the car now.
Very good car.
It's a superb car, but we only got the car last night at 8 o'clock, so we haven't got any miles in the car, so it'll be a bit of a suck and see job today to see what it does.
Morris Gas is well used to his Emo Escort, but today he has a spy on board.
Morris, camera on board today. Does that put any extra pressure on you?
Plenty of pressure, yeah, for sure.
How's the car going?
It's going well now. We've 3 events over us and got 3 top 10, so we're happy enough.
Is this an event you're familiar with?
No, it's the first time doing it.
So you've had a look at the stages. What do you think?
Some hairy moments on it now, but we'll have a go at it and see how we get on.
The press are on hand to see and hear the chairman of the county councils on each side of the border, Charlie Smith and Tommy Riley, signal their welcome for a rally that's breaking new ground in terms of local cooperation. But soon the focus switches to the competitors, and the spotlight falls on last year's winner, Norman Armstrong, who leads the field away in his Mark II Escort. The route is simple but challenging. 2 stages in the north, Camloch and Slieve-Gullion, and 1 in the south, 11 miles of Cooley Mountain, and they have to be completed 3 times. Overnight rain means wet and slippery conditions, but the weather has improved as spectators make for their vantage points in Camloch Forest. Although some are prepared for any conditions. Top seed Norman Armstrong, in search of border championship points, is first to find out just how slippery it is in his rear-wheel drive Escort. It snakes through Camloch. But up in Slieve-Gullion the roads are drying out, and Norman and co-driver Kyle Johnson can get the foot down. Four-wheel drive is preferable on roads strewn with damp leaves, and McGarrity begins to exploit the Sierra Cosworth extra traction. He may only have taken delivery of the ex-Gabriel Snow car less than 24 hours earlier, but as the rain returns over Cooley Mountain, he and Victor Carruthers move to the top of the leaderboard. 3rd fastest on the first stage, he's quickest on the second, and 2nd fastest again to squeeze into the lead on the 3rd. Sean Haveron and Vincent Fergus never get their challenge off the ground. And by the end of the second stage, they're out. The Sierra's gearbox fails. Could this be the turning point of the championship? Michael Irwin isn't a regular in the Northern Ireland Series this year, but he's always competitive when he appears on the tarmac rounds of the series in the Ford-powered Toyota Starlet. But today, Cooley Mountain is to be his downfall. Garth McGarrity, runner-up in the championship himself 2 years ago, explains what happened from the co-driver's seat.
For a change, I was able to do nothing with my hands. Wasn't able to grab the steering wheel like I usually can, and I certainly seen everything coming now. But it was one of those things. It's a very narrow wee lane here, and we touched the grass just back up there, and that just set us sideways, and then finished up hitting this wee stone wall here. So fairly sudden stop, but we're both okay. So that's the main thing.
Out of the blue, there's a new name up at the front challenging McGarrity for the lead. It's the other Armstrong, Norman's brother Davy, in his old-style rear-wheel drive Sierra Cosworth, defying the slippery conditions to move into second. Armstrong and co-driver Herbie Blackburn are 8 seconds faster than anyone else over Cooley Mountain. If Armstrong's Sierra is relatively old rally technology, then this is new stuff. Davy Greer's pristine white Toyota Celica GT4. All whistling turbos and whining diffs, Davy's only previous outing in the car was over the wide open spaces of Bishop's Court, and it takes time to get used to the bumps and jumps in these narrow border roads. One man quick out of the blocks is Keith White in his unconventional Escort Cosworth. It's a rear-wheel drive version, but Keith uses it to good effect to set fastest time on the first stage. In fact, his time was matched by a totally different car, the four-wheel drive Metro 6R4 of another of the Border Championship contenders, Robert Moffat from Monaghan. Also moving into the top 5, the low-flying Escort of Robbie Hamilton and Jim Crozier. But just how slippery and difficult are those Mourne stages? We go in car with Maurice Gass and Guy Carlisle in the Emo Escort and find out. Even with four-wheel drive, it's all too easy to end up pointing the way you came.
Watch the humper. Well done. Andy, turn right. Let Andy score there. There you go. Yes. Watch the score left of a jump.
Co-driver Carlisle mixes his pace notes with encouragement, and they're back on the road again at some pace.
Turn right. 40, turn right. 60. Jump into 5 right, don't cut.
But there's more trouble lurking just around the corner.
On 4 left. Into 5 right, don't cut. 1.5.
It's narrow, it's fast, it's downhill. There are potential problems everywhere. It's big trouble for our in-car team. They're out of the rally. In trouble too, front runners McGarrity and Carruthers. The Escort has been hampered by wheel nuts shearing off, and on the second loop, they're forced to call it a day too. It's a disaster for Derek. With Haveron an early casualty because of his gearbox problem, McGarrity had the chance to close the gap at the top of the McGarrity table, but no longer. Keith White and Joe Law, the early pace setters, also joined the growing retirements list after suspension damage. Richard Hall is soon to join the list as well. And Dennis Patterson's Orion disappears in a puff of smoke. Suddenly, it's all very brotherly at the top of the leaderboard. Davy Armstrong moves into the lead in the big blue Sierra. But right on his tail is the Escort of brother Norman, pursuing a second successive Mourne win. Both, however, are watching anxiously over their shoulders at the gathering threat of Greer's Toyota, which is speeding up as the day wears on. Moffat has charged the Metro up into 4th place. And then there's a Mr. A. Nesbitt moving up the leaderboard. No, it's not the former Donegal International winner Andrew, but still a member of the same family. Younger brother Alan has the same attacking style, and it's paying off as he slots the Escort into 7th place at the end of the second loop. Another couple of famous names finding their way onto the leaderboard are Woodside and Harriman. In this case, Robert Woodside the younger and Alan Harriman. Teenager Robert has his 1600cc Nova up to 9th, confirming the view that he's one of the finds of the season. And rushing through in the GM machine of a different era, Jim Feenan and Damien McCann in the Formula Karting Opel Escona 400. Rushing a bit too much, Glenn Kerr and Gardner McCrellis in their Astra. Fortunately, the bank is soft enough to inflict little damage, and they carry on with only the pride dented. After service in Newry, it's back to the mountains again for a final run over the same 3 stages. Can the Armstrongs hold off the challenge of Greer? Who'll win the Border versus Northern Ireland Championship battle? Some fans find strange ways to amuse themselves until the action restarts, but others are growing impatient. For the Class winners, it's been a good day out. White and Sharkey take Class 2 in their Suzuki Swift, while Class 3 goes to Faulkner and Ferris in their Astra. Derek Crossan and Stuart Carpin yump their way to victory in Class 4. The Woodside-Harriman partnership wins Class 5 in the Nova. The Strainies take Class 9, also in a Nova. And Camillus Bradley and Charlie Beattie win Class 10. They're also 7th overall in their Sideways Sunbeam. Fighting the wheel all the way to victory in Class 11 are Alan Nesbitt and Rodney Hughes. This is one escort that appears to have a mind of its own, but somehow Alan manages to keep it pointing in the right direction long enough to finish 6th overall. Meanwhile, Sean McCardle and Joe McNulty in the Toronto to Paul escort are flying high over the final stages and back to the finish at Carlingford. Cooley Mountain is no place for the faint-hearted. Mickey McCardle and Raymond Duffy emerge over the scenic sweeps of Slieve Gullion, and their glorious-sounding Manta races on to 5th place and 2nd in Class 12. Moffat and O'Brien may have number 99 on the door of their Metro, but they're a long, long way ahead of their start number. And despite a last-minute wall of death act, they go on to take 4th place and 3rd among the Border Championship runners. But there's no repeat victory for Norman Armstrong. He and Kyle Johnson are overtaken by technology and have to settle for 3rd place. It's still a great effort by the Newton Hamilton driver, and he reaps a rich haul of Border Championship points. But he couldn't withstand the increasing pace of Greer. The former Mourne Rally winner may have taken time to play himself in with his new Toyota, but by the 3rd run over the stages he was closing fast and determined to split the brothers at least.
We had to get some mileage in the car, and myself. You know, it's really 2 years since I've really been competitive motoring, so wanted to get a run out somewhere before the big race.
Tell me this, you've snuck into 2nd, have you?
Yeah, I think we got 2nd there, yeah.
You've spoilt a bit of motoring history there. I thought we had 2 brothers, 1 and 2.
Yeah, we did. I think they're heading to as good as the McRae boys, I must say. They must admit the both of them drove very, very well.
Greer may have overhauled Norman Armstrong, but brother Davy and Herbie Blackburn have been wheel perfect all day, and their Sierra is right out of reach.
Is this your first big win?
Yeah, this has been my first win ever. I was 2nd once before, but that's it.
So there'll be a few pounds tonight, big night.
It could be a big night, all right.
Congratulations, absolutely brilliant.
Yes, a special moment for Davy Armstrong as he takes his first ever rally victory, with Davy Greer in 2nd, preventing a family 1-2. And the latest situation in the Northern Ireland Rally Championship, Sean Haveron and Derek McGarrity, the only 2 drivers who can win the championship.